Have you ever really misjudged some material? I mean, obviously you're saying earlier on you did. Are you more confident now?
Well, I don't do it now. I mean, I've made terrible mistakes about, you know, because I'm attracted to subjects that are sort of dark and slightly taboo, and now I realise that you have to approach those things sensitively, and an audience has to have a tremendous amount of trust in you before they'll let you talk about children being killed, for example. But I didn't appreciate that when I was a drunker man. And like, so I would just go, oh, this is my views on, you know, sort of on things I wouldn't say now because I'm too sensible. But like, you know, sort of, but yeah, I used to blunder enormously, terribly around September 11th, terrible around sort of like, you know, sort of child murders that captured the attention of the nation. And although I think some of the things I was saying were ultimately valid about sort of about hysteria and the way these subjects are tackled, if you're going to go into those areas, then you have to be very skillful, and at that stage I was not.
Do you ever fear that you'll go on stage and not be funny if you're going to take that many risks?
No, because I've done so much of that, Dawn. I went on stage and was not funny for such a long while when I was drinking and taking drugs, because the nervousness manifested itself as arrogance and aggression then, so I was seldom funny. Sometimes by accident I would be funny, but mostly then it was just horrible, unbearable to watch. And I've done so much of that now that I'm kind of relaxed with an audience, and I know my obligation, and plus I've got hours and hours and hours of material, so if this ain't working then I'll just do that. But normally it does, because I think everything is funny. Everything's funny. When you get into the right frame of mind, like from a sort of a Zen Buddhist perspective, then it will all be funny. It will all be funny. You can make it all funny. It will never not be funny if you're in the right place and if you're approaching it with love and if you get yourself into the right frame of mind. You know, that's why I sort of try not to be an absolute bastard in life, because then I think, how can I go on stage and ask people to love me and laugh at me when I know I've been a right wanker in my private life? Right, so like now, I try not to do that so much, and I know that I do love them. I know that what I'm saying is sincere and that I mean it, so it all sort of seems to work.
Tell me about writing your material. Are you a sit down with a notepad sort of person? How do you write?
For writing journalism, then you sort of ultimately have to sit down and write it, but for writing stand-up comedy, I can't. I've not got the discipline. What I do is, something will happen I think is funny, then I'll notice myself tell a friend that thing, and I think, oh, that was funny. Then I'll tell an audience it. All of my shows have been written from doing it on stage in front of people. That's how I'm much more comfortable writing. Even at the moment, when I'm doing shows in larger venues, the first sort of hour is improvised, and I find that certain things start being repeated, and eventually they become material and sort of accumulate stuff, and things are attracted to them. I've never been someone to sort of go, oh, I'll try it, because it just feels dry. I like, because ultimately its aim is sort of, is in relationship with an audience. I think that for me personally, the best way is to write it from that, if its genesis is with an audience, then when it's realised, it makes it magnificent, because it's always been in relationship with an audience. There's never been a bit where I'm not funny when I'm on my own. I'm just a murmuring, muttering, cat-loving imbecile, you know, so I'm funny when I've got to be.
Yeah, how do you remember it?
Because mostly it's recorded, so I can check it back if I need to, but it leaves a footprint, I think, when stuff's dead funny. You sort of think, oh yeah, remember that bit. Sometimes someone will go, oh, you never did that bit again, that bit was really good. And I think, oh yeah, and put it back in. But mostly I remember it because of the thrill of like it getting a laugh and the thrill of realisation.
Tell me this, is it a proper job?
Yeah, when you do it well, it's a proper job, isn't it? You have to, like, that's where you when you're doing a tour, when it's like night after night, you sort of think, well, this is now work, because you might not feel like it, but like, you know, every night they have the same, you have the same obligation to your audience, that you can't think, oh, I feel good today, so I'll come right from my core, and then, you know, you have a duty to entertain people, but, you know, it is work, it is to do it properly, it is an endeavour.
Do you ever feel fraudulent then?
No, because it took me ages, Dawn. It took me ages, and like it nearly killed me. Yeah, so like, no, I don't, because like I did Bugsy Malone when I was 15, and from the first second, from the time I'd uttered the first line, it's okay, everybody, it's okay. From that moment that I said that as a 15-year-old, I thought, oh, I'm doing this forever. Oh, thank God, there's something else. Thank God. And it took me enough after my life again to get any money out of it. You know, to get anything, so I think I've earned it.
Do you think it's a calling for you, Russell?
Yeah, I think it's a vocation. I think it's all there is, you know. I couldn't do anything else, I wouldn't do anything else, and if it got took away from me, I'd go, fine, ta-ta! You know, but I couldn't carry on without it.
Are you jealous of other good performers?
Well, Yes, yes, I am. But not since I've got better. You know, sort of when I was learning, and of course you always are, but when I felt less confident in what I was doing, I was like, ah! And when people were successful, I always felt like that success was a finite thing, and if everyone else was eating up all of the success,
There wouldn't be any left for you.
I ain't got none now. I'm still
no
poor.
No pie left.
Yeah, but now, I mean, I get a sort of a twinge of, that was good, like, but not very often, because I don't like Schadenfreude just as a thing. That's one of my best characteristics, is if I'm walking along with someone, they trip or bang their head, my instinct is, oh, you're right. I don't laugh. I mean, that's one of the best things about me.
Do other young comedians ask your advice about how to get into the business or anything?
Yeah.
Well, and do you help?
Fuck off. Find out the hard way.
You baby comedian.
Go on, go and destroy yourself for a decade with smack, then come back to me. Yeah, I do. Eddie Izzard give me advice, like early on. He said, he goes, keep doing stand-up comedy because they don't give a fuck about television presenting in America, so you need to keep doing it, and don't judge yourself till you've done 100 gigs. So I pass on those things, and I say, and my thing is be truthful and try and don't imitate. Isn't it annoying when you watch it on telly? This is more with television presenters than with comedians, but it happens as well with comedians, that they adopt a stance of talking and manner and grammar that is the way that people talk on television. You sort of think that's not real, so it just becomes white noise. You don't listen to it. So if you make sure that the stuff you're saying is authentic, then it's better. You know, otherwise you tune out. We're all so familiar with media now and watching, you know, so if I know that already, I've seen that, that's not taking me anywhere, that's not surprising me. And the only way, ultimately, that you can do that is by being truthful. Because I think that what all of us, the mistake that I made, and I think that this is probably quite typical, is that you sort of think, oh my God, I love Morrissey, Morrissey is amazing, I love Peter Cook, I love Richard Pryor, I want to be like Richard Pryor, Morrissey, Peter Cook. But then you realise what those people are is they are themselves, perfectly and beautifully in tune with what they are. And so if you get in tune with what you are, then you'll have it. You're in line with the universe. Yeah. You'll be supported by the energy around you. But if you're constantly trying to be Peter Cook or Richard Pryor or Morrissey, then you'll just be shit.
It's an elementary mistake, though,
elementary mistake.
You kind of you do copy what you love.
Yes, I think you do, and I don't think there's anything. I think that you can learn from it. You know, I know that I've done that, but I don't think you can be great until you've stopped doing it.